Hello, hello, my friends. Another dedicated candle review for you today. This is actually going to be the first of two Kringle candle reviews that I have for you on my channel today. This is Garden Fresh. This is one of the new spring and summer candles, part of their 2025 collection for this time of year. Now, full disclosure, this candle was sent to me in PR by Kringle Candle. However, if you've been with my channel any length of time, you guys know I give it to you straight. I let you guys know if a candle performs well for me. I let you know if it's to my fragrance preferences. And then you can go ahead and choose to do what you want with that information. My job here is to just share what my honest burn experiences have been. So this is in one of their large 2-wick 100% soy tumblers. This fragrance is also available in a daylight, wax melts. I believe it's also available in their painted 3-wick vessels, which we know that eventually they will be phasing that style of 3-wick out. And this fragrance also, for the first time, this was the first collection where they are making all of these Kringle fragrances available in their new 4-wick format. So let's go ahead and talk about this one because you might want to pick it up in that large vessel. We have top notes of floral and green, mid notes of herbal and rhubarb, and base notes of musk and green. The specific pour date of this candle is January 7th, 2025. So what does my nose detect? If you caught my cold sniff impression video when this collection was getting ready to launch, I shared with you guys kind of what my impressions were on cold sniff. And I always say sometimes cold sniff can be a little bit deceiving because there have been fragrances that I haven't necessarily loved on cold and then I warm them and I really enjoy them, or vice versa. I like them on cold and then I warm them and I'm like, yeah, this isn't for me. I'm very happy to say that this fragrance is still living up to the expectations I had when I smelled this on cold. I would venture to say that for me personally, I feel like this is probably the most unique fragrance of the entire collection. This is very, it smells a lot like a tomato vine to me. However, there is a hint of sweetness to this that kind of gives it a little bit more freshness. It keeps it from becoming a little bit too bitter. If you caught on Friday, I did a dedicated review on Shamrock Fields, which is it was marketed for St. Patrick's Day, but as of the time that I was filming it, that candle was still in stock. And so I decided to go ahead and do a review on it. And if you happen to have caught that review, one of the things I said about that fragrance was that it was green. It was very much green in the manner of like the stems of a lot of plants. And there was a little hint of bitterness to it from an herbal note. My suspicion was that it was oregano. For whatever reason, you guys, my nose does not always love oregano in home fragrance. And of course, we don't know what herbs are listed. Sometimes we're just given herbal, but I'm going to tell you, anytime I get kind of like a bitter note, I sometimes think that it's oregano, it's thyme, it's somewhere around, it's something like that. Basil I can usually detect rosemary, but it wasn't either one of those fragrances. Anyways, where I am going with that was that I said in that candle review, it was like a little bit of a bitter herbaceous note mixed with like fresh air, very crisp, clean air. This fragrance to me, I am not detecting like that oregano type of, there's nothing bitter in this herbaceous, like heavy type of candle. This very much has a sweetness to it, like if you've ever grown tomatoes and you've smelled a fresh tomato vine. That's what this fragrance reminds me of. But I do think that that note of rhubarb in the middle there is lending almost, there is a sweetness to this candle that goes beyond the natural sweetness that you would usually find on a tomato vine. Honestly, you guys, I really love this scent. For it being, it's very green, but again, not like fresh stem green. I just keep going back to tomato vine, and maybe it's because, you know, the imagery on the packaging here, but even the herbaceous note, I want to say that I detect a little bit of basil in here, which I am seeing pictured in the label here. I do detect, like, again, basil has a little bit more sweetness to it, a little bit more of a fresh vibe to it. I don't really detect, to my nose, basil is not bitter. Now in my garden, the reason why I'm able to say that, like, I feel like that's what this candle smells like, I have grown tomatoes in my garden. I've also grown basil in my garden. And I feel like this fragrance is very authentic to what my garden experiences have been, especially after I freshly water it and the vine is wet. The basil leaves, you get your nose right up in there. This just smells really, really good. I don't really get a ton of muskiness. There's nothing really perfumey about this, but this is just, like I said, very unique. I have not smelled a fragrance like this. And in the same way, I love that this says garden fresh, because this is not, again, I just keep going back to, there's nothing bitter or like smelling old about these like herbs or the green notes. Sometimes it's hard for me to describe. Sometimes I get candles and they have an herbaceous note to it, but it just smells kind of stale. That's not what this is at all. It just smells fresh, like a fresh tomato vine, fresh basil coming off. It's good. There's a crispness to it. That's the best way that I could describe. It's very, very well done. Again, probably one of the more unique fragrances. If you happen to be a fan of herbaceous fragrances, but not really mixed with any kind of like fruit notes, say like Sicilian orange. Later on today, I'm actually going to be uploading the other candle that has been very polarizing this release, but that has an herbaceous note to it, but it's different than this one. But anyways, if you tend to like those fragrances that are very green, fresh, herbal, you like maybe the idea of a tomato vine, or you've grown tomato plants and you'd like that fragrance, then I think that you're going to like this one. But just remember, it's slightly sweeter than just even like your normal tomato basil type of garden going on. Really, really well done. Let's go ahead and talk about the performance. So I have had this candle lit for about, oh goodness, probably going on 3 hours now. You can see I've got a good, nice, solid wax pool going on there. Wicks have been performing well for me. I have been trimming the carbon residue off of these wicks. You can see that these ones are burning just a little bit hotter than some of the other candles, and that is actually evidenced. You can see tiny, tiny amount of darkness around the rim here. It's not excessive. This is just a candle that I personally have been trying to limit to about 3-hour burns, 4 at the most, I would say. And even then, you guys, you're not getting excessive soot, but you could probably see here as this candle is burning, it is starting to get that carbon residue is starting to accrue at the end of the wicks, which means that it's probably time for me to extinguish and trim the wick. Strength and throw on this candle, it's going to be between like a 7.5 and 8 for me. Interestingly enough, the funny thing is I have 2 spots in my living room in the open concept where I will typically like to place my candles. Now, what I learned today, you may have heard it in the background. I don't know. I'm actually filming outside on my back patio. This has become kind of my new favorite filming spot, as my teenager has been, she's trying out virtual learning this semester. So I've been filming outside. And here's the thing, you guys, it is actually unseasonably warm here in Arizona this week. I'm doing a little bit of pre-filming. The day that I am filming this, it is actually 91 degrees. So you probably heard my air conditioning kick on in the background. And it was funny because I've been burning this candle for a while. And going into this review, I was like, oh yeah, this candle is about an 8 in terms of strength and throw for me. This just goes to show you guys that having your air conditioning on, maybe having forced air, forced heat, can really impact the flow in your home, because I had this candle placed in the area that I normally have it placed. And today, for whatever reason, initially it wasn't as strong. And I was like, that's a little bit unusual. Well, I realized that the area that I have it placed, there is an air vent kind of close to where that is, and I also have our ceiling fans on right over it. So I was able to smell it, but it wasn't as strong. So what I ended up doing was I ended up moving it across the room onto, I have a shelf along my wall. It actually holds a quilt rack, and I moved it over there, and I actually had it there for about half an hour. I had to go run my daughter somewhere. My husband and my other kids were home. I left and I came back in and I was like, oh, okay, there's the scent again. It once again was filling up the space, throwing all the way into the kitchen. So that's just to tell you guys that, just as a reminder, if a candle is not performing well for you in one area of your home or in one area of a room, try moving it to another area to see if you can get better performance from it, because that was the case for me today. And of course, I realized it was impacted by my air conditioning. So overall, you guys, though, this one is a good performer for me. Again, I would put it within a 7.5 to 8. It's not going to be headache inducing. It's noticeable. I've really, really enjoyed burning this candle primarily in the late afternoons. I am somebody who likes to change my home fragrance throughout the day. I'll usually burn different fragrance combinations for like 3 to 4 hour blocks, extinguish them, kind of let things air out, and then I'll go ahead and light a new combination. And I've really been enjoying this one in the afternoons because this is a great fragrance to burn as I am preparing dinner. Today I made spaghetti. This was a great, a great fragrance to have going in the background as I am making my spaghetti sauce. So overall, you guys, I do give this candle 2 thumbs up. I would highly recommend it to those of you guys who have been looking for like a good tomato vine candle. Do I think it's authentic 100% tomato vine? No, there's a little bit of extra sweetness in there, but I have really, really been enjoying it. Not sure if I would repurchase it right away. That's just because you guys know me. I've got a ton of candles that I'm always running through to review and whatnot. However, if I didn't have this channel, if I was not a reviewer, I more than likely would repurchase this fragrance just because it is such a fresh, outside of the box fragrance for this time of year. So let me know in the comment box down below if you have purchased this candle. What has your burn experience been with it? This candle is available at Kringle Candle because it's part of the new spring and summer lineup. I don't see it going on sale anytime super soon. I do have a discount with Kringle. It is Katie15. It'll save you 15% off of your purchase with them. It is an affiliate code eligible for commission, so please only use that if you're comfortable. But like I said, these will probably eventually go on sale. So these are part of like their core lineup. So you're not at risk of it like selling out and not being restocked. So if you want to wait around for a sale, feel free to do that. But if you're planning to shop the reserve drop and you've been waiting for some more reviews on this candle, my personal opinion is that I think this one gets 2 thumbs up from me. So speaking of thumbs up, please hit thumbs up if you found this video helpful. Consider subscribing to my channel if you are new and you like candle reviews, candle content. Got lots of fun stuff like that here on my channel. I do want to say thank you so very, very much for spending your time here with me today. And until my next one, I hope you all go out and have a very blessed day. Bye.